Hi guys, this is Mac here, and I welcome you all to my YouTube channel, which is called Mac Vlogs. This is Mac here, and I would like to welcome my guest for today's evening. Her name is Jagruti, but I call her Jags basically because she's a very old friend of mine from Oman. And today's topic is really important, basically because counting 2020. Let's see what we have this topic for her. Hello, Miss Jags. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good. How are you doing, Mr.
You can call me Mac. Actually, I'm known Mac on
Mac?
the
Yes,
that's a bit more.
I know, but I've always addressed you as Masroor, so it's a little difficult for me to, fit it in by default. But yeah, okay, Mac. Yes,
That's
thank
fine.
you for having me
So
on
Mac,
your.
so Mac, so Mac is meeting Jax today. That's
Okay,
good.
timing it now.
Sure, definitely. So
Yes.
let my followers know who is Miss Jackson Jagruti. Who is she? Please tell a little bit intro about yourself, and then we'll proceed with the topic of ours today.
Okay, who am I? That is a very big, question. And if you go to define it, but just to begin with, I live in Oman. I am a realtor, a passionate realtor. I say that I'm a tree hugger. I have a lot of love and respect for nature, and I cannot resist. But if I see a tree, I would want to go and hug it. Um, I am a podcaster. I've just recently started podcasting. I create content. I write. I do a lot of drama. Yeah, I mean, and I love to travel. Before COVID, it was much more easier. I used to have a lot of my itineraries used to be planned, but now it is not so. Yeah, yeah. So that's a little bit about me. I hope that helps. That suffices.
Okay, so how has 2020 been in your life? Like for a lot of people like me and a lot of other people say 2020 is being so depressing. So we see a lot of family friends passing by basically because this 2020 is really because of COVID-19. It's really depressing. What do you have to say on that?
Well, to be honest, I'm with everybody. This is something that we had never predicted. We never anticipated a pandemic, and a pandemic that would lock us all in our homes. So
Hmm.
that is something that I had not predicted, and none of us were prepared for it. The biggest of the developed and developed nations are not prepared for it. So how could I be? Um, but I think it comes a lot from my upbringing and the atmosphere that I have in my family. We always are taught, like since my childhood, I've always been taught to look at the brighter side, to look at the bigger picture. Of course,
True.
there's a lot of sad news that is coming. I also know people who have been losing their family members and people are losing jobs. There's so many people who don't even have meals to eat. They can't even feed themselves. Yes, it is all happening because of COVID, because of this pandemic, but even otherwise also people were dying, people were losing jobs, people were sleeping hungry. But now I think there's been a lot of attention. I see the brighter side. How I see the brighter side of COVID-19 is that we are all awakening. We're all getting that sort of an enlightenment.
Hmm.
Even previously, we would have seen somebody sleeping on the road hungry, but today we are more aware of it. So I think
Sure.
as we will all return back to normal, there's not going to be a normal, of course, things will be different. But I think now there will be a lot of mindfulness, there'll be a lot of consciousness, there'll be a lot of awareness of our surroundings. Whereas earlier we were just on our phones, just looking down, we don't care what's happening around. Maybe
True.
even right now we will still be on our phones, but we will still take account of what is happening around. That's my personal belief. I'm hoping, and I hope that this happens and this does turn into a reality.
Mashallah. Okay, but yeah, I know what you mean actually, but it's really saddening. To be very honest, it's really sad. This 2020, we all had planned different ideas and different goals we had in our mind to achieve, but I think it has a little bit shaken it up in a way that
Yeah,
how we should be going about, and dealing in stuff basically. But
yeah,
you're absolutely right. It is awakened us and it has given us a little bit more different perspective that how we should be looking at 2020 and look after ourselves, our family, our friends, which is important basically because there is uncertainty for everyone. But we all are
Yes.
sailing in the same boat, so let's see how this goes and how this proceeds. We need to be strong enough, right?
We are not in the same boat. We are in the same storm. We are in the same sea. We're in the same ocean, battling the same waves, but we are not in the same boat.
Okay.
I remember
I
seeing
think
this
you're.
on.
I think you have your personal yachts, so I have my own boat.
No, that's what I'm saying. Thank you for considering that I have my yacht. I wish, but actually, alhamdulillah, if I have a meal on my plate, I've
True.
never slept hungry in these entire 3 months. I have a roof over my head. So
That
yes, my boat
that's
is
the point I want
definitely
to
much
make.
better. Yeah,
Yeah.
so just when you said right that we're all sailing in the same boat, no, we're not all in the same boat. There are people who are having a lot of difficulties and
We
a
need
lot
to
of
be.
troubles. Yeah,
We all are blessed. We all are
we are
blessed.
all blessed. We are all blessed. So yeah, we are all facing the same storm, the same monster, but
Hmm.
the weapons that we have to fight it are
It's
different.
different. It's different.
Somebody has an AK-47, someone has something else. So someone is just there, with their bare hands. So I think
Mhm.
that's the difference. So yeah, we're not sailing in the same boat.
Anyway, but
But
we will fight it out basically because we're
of
positive.
course, of course, of course, of course, of course, of course.
Excuse me. Sorry, I don't have corona. Don't you worry about that. Because every
I'm in
time
Oman. You're away. So
I know
yeah,
every time people cough, so they think, "Do you have corona?" I said, "No, alhamdulillah." Anyway, that
yeah,
was on a lighter note. Coming back
yeah.
to another, my first question I would put across to you would be, why do you podcast? What is so different? Basically, I have never tried doing podcast, and I want to start this. This is a great opportunity to learn something new in this pandemic and COVID-19 time at home. I'm doing my live sessions almost every day, so I'm enjoying bringing all my friends and guests and speakers of different topics every day. So I'm enjoying that. But I want to explore this podcast. So I think I have the right lady to teach me and explain me how the podcast is done. Go ahead.
I'm a beginner myself, so
Okay.
Masroor, Mac. I would definitely share whatever tips I can. So there's something about me. I love. I'm driven by inspiration. It is something I get attracted to, and again, by God's grace, I can see inspiration in the tiniest of tiny thing. Like even when I look at ants, I'll be like, oh wow, look at them, going in the same line, and they're so disciplined. So this is how I am as a character. I don't look at the negative too much, and I try to. My father, he says I'm like a sponge. You know how it absorbs everything. So I try to absorb as much as I can from people around me, things around me.
Okay.
um, I love to share inspiring stories. If I
Okay.
see someone doing something, I would, take a picture and write about it. So I thought, like, and while we were in between, this pandemic, I thought, okay, now what else can I do? Because I cannot just sit at home and do nothing. So I started
Yeah,
creating content. I did do Netflix and chill for the first 10 days. Yes, I've done that. I watched a lot
everyone
of,
did
I
that.
binge watched, yeah.
Everyone.
But
Everyone.
after the first 10 days, I was like, okay, now khalas, now how many days am I going to do this? Because I'm not working now. What else do I do? So then I started picking up on doing things. I started creating content. I started making videos where I put out the right messages. Like all the videos had a message at the end
True.
related to the situation that we are in. And one of the digital platforms over here, I'm really grateful to them. Like they would release my videos. Then I was like, okay, now what else can I do? So I came across an online podcast introduction session.
Hmm.
I've enrolled for it and I just, got to know how. Yeah.
So, sorry, I want to add one question in between our talk is that this podcast is not live on a video, right? It's just more of an
No.
audio, right?
Yes, it's just
Okay.
audio. So
So you can just
podcasting is
share
just
your story, like how you do that on the podcast for my followers and viewers to know so that they can also try this out. Okay.
yes. I think it's a great thing. You could do podcasting about anything. So how Mac is on YouTube and he's been getting followers on there. Now, if somebody wants to get onto YouTube, they'll think, oh, it's so much competition. How do I make a mark? You could
Hmm.
still do video content on YouTube, but
Hmm.
video is definitely a lot more effort, a lot more work. I
Okay.
don't mean that podcasting is not. Even doing a podcast requires a lot of work, but you're not. You don't need too many cameras. You don't have to look, your perfect self. All you have to do is just record the audio, edit it in a way, and present it. You could talk about anything. You want to talk about the news, you want to talk about makeup, anything. And podcasting is becoming a good trend. Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm driving. Even when I'm cooking something, I'll just play it on my phone rather than watching a video. I'm happier to be listening. I think that's what we lack, our today's generation. We are so much into seeing and believing that we have
Hmm.
stopped listening. And I think podcasting is helping me enhance my listening skill. I'm using that sense a little more. So I thought of starting a podcast where I will bring in real people, talk about their real stories, because it's very easy for us to break. It's very easy for us to think it's only happening to me. I'm the only one who's suffering. Whereas there are so many people, like, everyone has their own challenges. Everybody is suffering. Everybody is facing their own battles. So it's important to know that, hey, you know what? Even that someone is going through this. If he or
Hmm.
she could make it, so can I. So I
Yeah.
thought, why not come up with a podcast that inspires people, where I bring in people, they share their stories, we listen to it, get a little motivated, and live our lives, and get our spirits high. So that's my
Amazing.
reason behind the
That,
podcast.
that's
It's
that's
it's
amazing.
called You Are Human, because
Okay.
as human we have the power to fly, to change our circumstances. The sun or any other animal, if you take, by
Hmm.
default they have certain qualities, certain characteristics. They cannot
Hmm.
change. The sun cannot become like the moon, and the moon
True.
cannot become like the sun. But we
Yeah.
as human beings, I can be like the sun. I can have so much energy that people around me, when they see me, they feel, oh wow, that she is so powerful.
Inspiring.
I can
You
be
can
as
inspire
calm
them.
as the moon as well. Yeah. So we as human beings have the power to grow, to imbibe qualities, to work on ourselves. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Cheers up to you for that. Okay. Now
I
I
talk a lot.
Yeah, I know that's wonderful, basically, because I also love talking in front of the camera on different topics if I have the knowledge about that. Okay, so the fact is that the podcast, which you just mentioned about it, it's really wonderful experience to go and explore that and do that. But
Hmm.
what difference would you add about voiceover and a podcast? What would be the difference between voiceover artists or a podcast? I think they look a bit similar in terms of doing the activity, right? If you're doing just standing up on the mic and just talking about and giving lending your voice to some other artists for maybe for drama or for the movie characters or for the language purposes and stuff.
Yeah,
That's called
yeah,
voiceover artist. Am I right in that?
yeah. Yes,
Okay.
yes,
In the
yes. They're
podcast,
dubbing artists, voiceover artists. Yeah.
yes. So as you said, the podcast, you can talk about your stories and it's audio related. So just
Right.
let your followers and your followers know what is the difference between a voiceover and the podcast. What can they be together or something
you
else?
you have actually answered the part of the question. See, I'm no pro, I'm not a professional
Okay.
person or who
Okay.
knows everything, but even I'm learning, so I'm happy to share. But the
Mm.
podcast, because my podcast is it's a two-way, like how you're doing an interview with me right now in a video format, I do the exactly same thing but in an audio format.
Okay.
Now,
But how do you
I
edit
am
it? How do you
I,
edit
I
your?
use different applications. I've invested in softwares, and I edit.
Okay.
I
Are you
record the
an editor
entire
as well?
conversation.
Are you an editor?
I'm learning. See, as I said, we as human beings,
I
our
know a
potential
secret
is too
about
much.
you. I know a secret about you. Okay, maybe you
Hmm.
don't know, or shall
What?
I say it?
Yeah,
Okay,
please.
for all my followers, let me tell you that Miss Jagruti has worked, Jags has worked in an advertising agency, right?
Yes, yes,
So
yes,
you have the multiple talent in working in different industries, right?
yes, yes. And I'm grateful to the experiences
It
that I've
wasn't a
had,
secret,
because
but it was just a part of it.
yeah. So again, with what you're doing, I'm doing the same thing in an audio format. You edit it and
Okay.
then you release it. With podcasting, I'm having a lot of fun creating my podcast, having my guests on, and it's a lot of fun for me. So please, anybody out there listening, give it a shot. You don't need a studio or equipment. I've just invested in a mic and in a system, but you can just
Okay.
start it. You can use Anchor FM and just get on board. You can start it with nothing, no
Do you
investment.
have Do you have a YouTube channel? No. You?
I do, but I'm not a YouTuber. I would just put up some of my environment videos, where I talk about reuse, recycling, any changes that I have made. I've started doing composting, so I had put a video on that. I do poetry, I write, so I do poetry and storytelling. So sometimes I would put videos of that. Yeah.
So, can you tell my followers which platform you're a bit more active on? Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn,
Instagram. Instagram
Instagram.
is the one that I'm majorly
Are you
active
are
on.
you making your stories there on their Instagram stories?
I do have my IGTV. Yes, I post on there as well. Yeah.
MashaAllah, mashallah. So you add value to the social media platforms as well for your podcast, right?
Yes, I do. I do because whenever we're doing something new, it's important to market it. Yeah. So, so I use every tool possible.
Can you enhance the uh, my followers' knowledge in terms of podcast? Again, this question is related to podcast. Can anyone make a career in podcast, or it's just for fun?
No, I know people who make a career out of a podcast. Like in case if your concept is good, if your idea is good, the kind of content that you're creating, drives a lot of listeners. Then there could be companies, there could be production houses who would be interested, in sponsoring a podcast. I know people who are making money out of podcasts,
Okay,
from podcasting. So it totally depends on what you are talking about, how dedicated one is, and the consistency. It's really important to do not give up. Maybe like I do not even know how many followers I have. I don't get into that number game. I'm just
um,
doing out of passion, out of
enjoy.
something that I really feel and I want to do. That's about
Mm,
it. If tomorrow, Alhamdulillah, if there's somebody who comes up and says that, hey, we want to invest in your podcast, I'm not going to say no to it. I will definitely say, okay, please do it. But that's not the motive behind me starting my podcast. So I think thinking about how to make money, that is secondary. I think the passion is important. Like why I'm doing this for money, nah. If you want to do it for money, then there are so many other things to do. But do it, this is my personal suggestion, do it because you believe in it, do it because it gives you happiness. That's about it.
true. That's very important when you connect with people and your followers, or suppose they're not your followers but your friends or your family members. When you connect with everybody, you want to become an inspirational person or anybody who looks up to you, and you can do and enjoy the work which is so passion for you. You know, am I right?
Hmm. Yes, 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 absolutely, absolutely.
So, how's Oman? I miss Oman. How's Oman?
I'm sure Oman misses you too.
I miss all my friends in Oman for sure.
Oman is wonderful. Oman is it's home. It's where the peace
Any
lies. So I'm
changes?
really happy.
Would you like to share any changes? What's happening in Oman?
It's just
People
got
are
a
leaving
little more
right?
emptier.
On the news, a lot of
Yes,
people are
yes.
leaving, and it's
Yeah,
not
but
like
then I'm sure there are a lot of people who will be coming in too. Yeah.
inshallah, inshallah. So, what is your plans for future now? Keeping in 2020 in mind and keeping this COVID in mind, what do you have to do in future now? What do you
To be
plan?
grateful for each day because in these circumstances, if you're alive, you're healthy, that's our biggest
Mhm.
gain. So I'm going to be as much grateful as possible. Listen more, spend more time with my family and my loved ones.
Okay,
Work hard, because I have got back to work. So I'm a realtor, I deal with properties. So I'm back to work and I'm happy to be doing it.
would you like to add related to a question of properties, like how are the properties? Are there many? Is it is it okay to be answered if you feel that can be answered?
As in what? How's the property market, you want to know? You want to talk business?
Yeah, in Oman, property market in Oman, people are
Yeah,
leaving,
it's
so things are empty, right?
there are empty, but as I said, it's challenging everywhere. The economy is challenging, so of course there are challenges here too. But we got to do what we got to do. It's not like there is no business in the market. There is business. There are people who are buying. There are people who are looking to rent. There
Mhm.
are people who are opening businesses. Some of
Okay,
them. I mean, because as investors, they think this is the right time to invest in properties when the market is down. It makes more sense to invest right now. So Alhamdulillah, God's grace, no complaints. It's
God bless
difficult, it's a
everyone. They
struggle.
be
But
safe,
yeah.
they be healthy with their family, their friends, and everything. They look after themselves. It is depressing again coming back to this making 2020 count. We all have to play our part to make it counted. How? It's up to us, basically, because we're positive people. We need to bring change in people. Do you agree with
Yeah,
me?
absolutely, absolutely. We have to be more
So,
kinder. We have to spread positivity. One thing that I did with the pandemic when it started, our
mhm,
WhatsApp's groups, are flooded every day. A news update. This is happening. That is happening. Look, look. I have exited from groups. I have told people do not forward me these information. I can watch news. I do not want to get it on my WhatsApp. If you're worried about me, pick up the phone, talk to me. Do not send me this. I do not constantly check. Initially, of course, I did, oh, how many cases, because it's a new thing. You're like, oh, so many cases. Then it's just a
mhm,
hassle. I was like, you know what? If it has to come, it's going to come. I
sure.
am cautious when I'm going out. I'm wearing my mask. I am, carrying my gloves. I'm maintaining social distance. But I'm not panicking over. I'm not watching the news. I don't watch news channels. I will just keep a stock of, okay, where are the cases? How is it changing? In every like 3 to 4 days, I will keep a track. But I don't look at it every day, and that has helped me keep my mental peace. Honestly,
Wonderful. So, would you like to give a last message or any messages to my followers and your followers about anything you would like to add value to it? Go ahead.
add value to a last final message. I would just say that live for the now, because we really don't know when our time goes. That's something I say at the end of my podcast, that our time is short. Let's make the most of it. So we never know when the clock ticks. We never know we are next. So let's just be more kinder. Let's do what we want to really, really do, what we really feel for, and be more mindful about the now. Forget the past. Don't dream about the future. Let's just be in the now and live the present moment, because this is what it is. It's never
That's
going to
it.
come back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being my guest
Thank
speaker for
you.
today's
Thank you.
session. It really means a lot to me for
Thank you for having me.
taking time out and
It's
talking
my
about a little
pleasure.
bit of podcast and making 2020 count. And I'm sure a little bit more you can add if you like to, or it's up to you. No worries. You have
Sure.
my platforms. You can reach out to all my followers whenever you are interested to make any vlog. Please count me in. My channel is
For
open to
sure.
everybody basically
For
because I
sure.
love connecting. I love helping people out. And that's the whole idea. Basically, this channel is not only about Mac vlogs. This channel is about all the family members and all the subscribers who have subscribed on my channel, my friends, my family. This channel is open to everybody, so they can come and express themselves. So I give the freedom to everybody to be part of Mac Vlogs
That's
as a family.
brilliant. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah. All
So a
right.
small shout out to Mac Vlogs. Would you like to give anybody? What do you think about me or my channel? If you have been following for quite some time,
Yes, yes, I have been, and whatever you're doing is just so great, Mac. You've been inviting. I've been seeing your promotions on Facebook and Instagram. You've been getting people from all around. So it's not that you're just targeting people in Pakistan or in
anything.
the Middle East. You're just connecting people, and you're bringing so much knowledge, so much experience, from other people, and you're connecting so many of us to them. So thank you so much for doing it, and keep it up, and more power to you. More
Thank
power to
you.
you.
Thank you
God
so much.
bless you.
God bless you and your family. Be safe,
Thank
be
you.
healthy,
Thank you.
look after
Thank
yourself,
you.
and keep smiling. Thank you so much once
Thank you
again.
so much.
I look
Take care.
forward to having you in many more sessions with different
For
topics
sure.
and you as my guest
For
speaker.
sure. For sure. For
Take
sure.
care. Bye
Thank you so
bye.
much. Thank you. Goodbye.